What is going on, you guys? Theo here with the big review, back yet again with another Marvel Future Revolution video. And in today's video, this will be our first video under the hood with this game hands-on after months of talking about this game in anticipation of the release. We have finally made it, and we can show you guys exactly what you're going to be able to look forward to with the global launch for this game, as we have been playing the soft launch for the Canadian. I guess if you want to call it a beta, you can, but it's technically going to be a soft launch. Either way, we have been playing this game almost non-stop for the past 3 days, and I'm going to show you guys all the different things that you will want to know about this game as far as the basics are concerned today, and then we will be taking a look at the more in-depth guides that you have come to know and expect from this channel going forward over the course of the next several days and weeks and months to come. But before we do all of that, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe, and let's go ahead and talk about Marvel Future Revolution. Now, of course, when you first download the game, the first thing that everybody is going to wonder is, how do you get characters, how do you select characters, and so on and so forth. And I am happy to report to you guys that it does not appear as though the characters are ever going to be locked behind a gacha system, at least at launch. What we can tell for right now is we are basically going to have a hero select screen that is going to look like this, and then here to the left you are going to see all of your different character emblems and the characters you can choose from, to an extent. So whenever you first download the game, the first thing that you're going to do is they're going to ask you to pick your lead hero. This, for me, in this instance, as you can tell from this lead hero tag here, is going to be my Iron Man. Now, beyond that, after that, you can go ahead and pick from the other set of characters that are on the roster up to 3 more characters to round out your squad. So this is going to be my squad here. As you can see, I have Storm, and I've put quite a little bit of time into her. And then Captain America here I've yet to start out playing with. And then, of course, Captain Marvel, who I've just recently started to play around with and quite enjoying her, actually. Now, the way that you're going to get these other characters, because there's 8 total, and outside of them, you're also going to have Doctor Strange here, then you're going to have Spider-Man, you're going to have Black Widow, and you're going to have Star-Lord. So those are the 8 characters at launch that you can choose from, with more characters promised to be added in over time. So basically, you're going to pick your 4 characters for your squad, and if you're ever wondering how you can get more characters, there is an item that you can purchase. It's pretty cheap with crystals. It's like 400 crystals, which whenever we talk about the in-game shop, I'll talk about that a little bit. But you can pick those up and expand your roster, at which point, once you use it, you can go ahead and pick one of the characters that you have yet to pick from for your pool and for your squad. So having a squad built up is pretty important. There's going to be ways that the game progression locks you in order to force you to have to go in and level up some of these characters so that you aren't just solely focusing on your main, but there are going to be reasons for that we'll talk about over the course of the coming weeks. But that is going to be your hero select screen. So let's go ahead and hop into the world, and I will show you guys what the game looks like. Alrighty, you guys, so here we are in the headquarters. Now, this is going to be the main central hub of the game. This is going to be where you spend quite a bit of time. So if you take a look here, you'll be able to tell all the different resources that you are able to get from this area of the map. And there's a lot here. You're going to have your shop, your workshop, the place where you're going to enhance your costume, combine your cores, use your convergence box, so on and so forth. There's a lot of different things that you do here in the central hub, and you're going to find yourself coming back to it quite often. So I want to go ahead and take this time now to show you guys just some basic gameplay. What we're going to do over the course of this week is we're going to give you guys all the basics of this game, whether it's the menus or just what items you should be prioritizing or so on and so forth. But being that this is the introduction video to the world, I figured I would go ahead and show you guys what you're going to be expecting from this game whenever you first download it and whenever you sit down and play it. So first and foremost, if if you take a look at your radar here, you can take a look at your map, right? And if we go down here to the little world icon, this is going to show us a nice little overview of all the different areas of the map that we can go to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we'll just jump over to the Hydra Empire here, and I will show you guys this as an example. So your different areas of the map are going to be broken up into sub areas, and if you take a look down in the bottom left hand corner, it will actually tell you what your progress is on each of these areas. So as you can see, I have mined this one pretty darn well, so probably not the best one to show you guys as an example of some gameplay here. So actually, let's go ahead and take a look at this world here, and we'll go ahead and move over to Xanderth here. Now, as you'll see, you're going to have your side missions, and then you're going to have your collectibles over here in blue on the left-hand bottom corner of the screen. That's going to, like I said, tell you exactly where you're at as far as your progression is concerned with some of these different areas. But let's go ahead, we'll jump into this part of the map, and I'll show you guys what you're looking at here. Now, the nice thing about this game, a lot of people have wondered about bugs or hiccups or lag or so on and so forth. Now, I can tell you guys right now, even though this game is soft launched right now, so there's not going to be, you know, millions and millions and millions of players playing it at one time like you'll see once it globally launches. I have not had much of any issues whatsoever with anything in this game as far as that is concerned, whether it be bugs or what have you. I have had certain instances where I have had the game kind of have an asthma attack on me because the servers got overloaded. You can actually see your ping down in the bottom left hand corner there. Mine is currently not doing too bad, and something that I should probably mention to you guys, because you may not know this, let's go ahead and adjust our camera, which is another really cool thing that you guys will want to take a look at whenever you download the game. If you take a look down here by the chat box, you'll see this little camera icon, and you can kind of zoom in and out of your character using that. Being that I use a lot of these flying characters, I like to have mine on 3. That way I kind of have a little bit of room to breathe, as you can tell here. So we're just going to let this kind of auto right now. You'll see that auto icon right above the camera I just pointed out down in the bottom middle, kind of by your chat box for your world chat. So that is going to be your auto button, and the auto for the most part isn't too bad. It tends to do its job. However, against some of the big bads or the super villains, you're probably going to need to take a more hands-on approach. But for those of you who are worried about being able to auto grind, it's actually pretty easy. And actually what you can do is, if you go ahead, you'll take a look up at the top right hand corner, you'll see this purple letters here, this return to glory. Well, that is going to be your current mission, and you can have multiple missions ready at one time. I can show you guys kind of how that works. So if we go ahead and take a look at our map here, on the map, you're going to see locations of different things, whether they're your collectibles, your side missions, your bosses, or what have you. So there's quite a bit that you can do with these different worlds. There's a lot of different things to keep you coming back and backtracking, particularly as it pertains to some of these bosses. And if one of them ends up spawning while I'm making this video, we'll go ahead and hit them up, and I'll show you guys what you're looking at there. But with the bosses that show up on the overworld, it's pretty interesting the way they do it, because you actually have over here in your operations a most wanted list every day, and what this list is basically going to be is a list of bosses that can show up in the overworld that are going to randomly spawn in those spots that I showed you there that have those red boss icons, and you can go in and you can attack these guys and coordinate with other people in the world, and once you take them down, you're going to be able to get some collectibles that might be able to buff up your character, but you're also more importantly going to get your squad rank XP. And being that this is going to be a basics video and an introduction video, I feel like now is the time to talk about squad rank just a little bit. So with squad rank, your squad rank is basically going to be your character's level, right? It's going to be your account level. And basically with that, what you are going to need in order to get your squad rank up is you're going to need to do particular missions and do particular things in order to build up your squad rank. However, not doing everything builds squad rank. So there's only going to be specific ways where you can get it built up. And one of the ways that you can do that is through these manuals. Now, these manuals tend to be pretty rare. These are going to be drops from different missions and different things that you'll do progressing through the story. And this is really where the game progression locks you. Believe it or not, leveling up your characters comes extremely easy and very quickly. That part is very simple. it's actually your squad rank, which is the way that they have devised in order to keep you coming back and keep you having to bounce between these characters. And the reason for that is eventually you're going to hit a point in your story mode where you're going to get to a point where it's going to tell you this next mission is too difficult for your current squad rank. Your next mission is to build your squad rank up to whatever number. Like for instance, right now, I am trying to build mine up to 44, or actually I think I just did that, didn't I? That is actually something that I finished up last night. Yeah, so 45 is where I'm at now, but before that I needed to get to 44 in order to continue progressing through the story with Iron Man. Now, a quick tip for you guys if you get stuck on your squad rank is basically what you'll want to do. Go in, you can do some of the side missions for like XP and things like that, but really what I recommend is just going to an alternate character, going over to your character select, which if you go to your menu here, you're going to have your select hero down to at the bottom here, kind of in the middle. And if you go back to your hero select, pick one of your other characters. Yes, you will have to start out from the beginning of their campaign if you haven't played with them before, but the nice thing about that is you are going to be able to grind your squad rank up a lot quicker than you would be trying to go for whatever the scraps are left over for whatever you're able to do currently with whatever your character you're building at the time. So that makes it a lot easier to do that and a lot quicker, because 9 times out of 10, the way that I would recommend people play this game right now is just focus on one main character, and then from there you can kind of move on to doing some of these alternate characters. But that's why you see my Iron Man here, for instance, is at level 81, whereas I have some of these other characters like Storm and Captain Marvel that are trailing a fair bit behind him. So that's kind of how that works, and that's how the progression locking goes in this game. Now, as far as anything else here, when it comes to the actual bosses and the actual missions themselves, the missions are going to be pretty varied. There's quite a bit that you can do, and as you progress through the game, they're going to go from being things that are pretty easy to do to things that are a little bit more difficult. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and I will actually go over to a part of the map that is going to have a decent amount of mini missions that I can show you guys. Let's go ahead and see if there is. Let's see. I bet you, yeah. So I haven't done as much with this one. So I'll show you guys kind of what you're looking at here. Now, if you go here, we can skip these cutscenes, which is really nice. The loading screens on this game are very quick and actually pretty snappy for the most part. Actually, we got one right here. So if you go to your map, you can pretty much just choose where you want your character to go. Now, these green exclamation points are going to be side quests. Now, side quests are going to be different depending on what side quest you're looking at. Some of them are going to be more worth doing than others. At the beginning, they're all worth it, but as you progress, some of them are going to vary as far as their valuability is concerned towards your account. So like this one here isn't necessarily going to be the most valuable for me because the reward for it is whatever, but the XP and the gold is what you want. Now, gold is something at the beginning that might not seem as though it is going to be a problem. It might seem at the beginning as though gold comes to you pretty plentifully and you don't have to worry about it too much, but you would be surprised. So if we go ahead and pick up this side quest, and you can have up to, I believe, 3 side quests going at a time before you're going to have to be able to swipe here and get rid of it. As you can see here, you can actually get rid of side missions if you would like, and then you can go right back and pick it back up. If you ended up moving to a different area, you might find yourself wanting to do that for the time being, and then when you swing back around, you can pick it up again. But these side missions go pretty quick. Up at the top corner there, you can go ahead and highlight it just by tapping on it, and that will prompt your character, as long as you have autoplay on, to go ahead and automatically play that side mission or that mission or whatever it is that you are doing. Now, sometimes you will have special side missions pop up that are going to be time limited. Those are going to be a gold border for these little borders up here. As you'll see, you can differentiate them from color. Your main quests are going to be in purple, your side quests in green, and then your special side quests in gold. So those are the things to look out for, and typically my recommendation on those with the regular side quests outside of your main character. With your main character, you pretty much want to do the side quests as you see them or swing back around to do them. I definitely recommend grinding those up, especially because you'll eventually need that gold, because like I said at the beginning, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But as you play through the game and progress, you are going to need it just that much more as your skills get that much more expensive. At which point right now, while we are grinding down these little these little minions, I'm going to show you guys the skills real quick. So the way you're going to build up your skills, this menu is actually really cool. And mind you, we're probably going to have a pop-up cinematic here in a moment whenever we finish this side quest, because they will continue to play in the background, which is really cool. So if you take a look here, my skills are pretty well built up. Yep, there we go. Speak of the devil. Hey, Spider-Man, what's going on? Let's skip that. Now, when it comes to the skills here, as you can see, I have built these up here. And if you go to this little plus icon, it's going to show you what it costs to purchase the next skill enhancement. Now, of course, these are going to be pretty expensive because my Iron Man is getting pretty high up there. But starting out, you're going to see where this could get a little bit, it's a little bit easier for you to kind of get into this false sense of security where you go, okay, well, I'm getting gold pretty plentifully. I've got like 50, 60,000, and it only costs me 4 or 5,000 to build up my skill, right? Well, wrong. Once you get to high enough levels, it costs a ton. So you really have to take a look at your skills and pinpoint which ones it is that you want. Now, just like any good RPG out there, this game is going to have a ton of customization with the skills in particular. Now, over here, you can, of course, see the screen here that is going to show you what the animation of the skill is. And if you actually go in, you can take a look at previous animation versions of these skills. Now, if you take a look, the overlay here is going to show you exactly what your cooldown is. It's going to tell you what class skill it is. It's going to require how much stamina, tell you the effects of it, so on and so forth. But it also gives you this really sleek look at what it actually looks like in use. So you can actually use this to plan how you want to build your character. You can always go in here and change to these different versions of these skills and back and forth, and it's really cool with the way they do this. Now, as you can see here, you're going to have these different skills that are going to have increases to their overall damage output and buffs and so on and so forth. That is going to be the way you pick those up with just the gold here, just doing it this way. However, if you want to upgrade the actual skill and make it look different and have a different animation and sometimes even change what it is doing for you, then you will need to go ahead and get to a particular level corresponding to whatever skill it is. So you'll actually see these little red dots that are going to be on here. So this one here, if it's over to the left where the little skill icon is, that is going to signify that you have a new upgrade that you can unlock for that skill. And if you have the red dot over by the plus sign, that just means that you're going to be able to enhance it to the next level. So that's kind of how that works. And there's a ton of customization here. You can even level up your basic skills, you can level up your special skills, so on and so forth. You can even have different presets available to you here that you can go in and customize, so on and so forth. And then of course the little yellow check mark is going to tell you and indicate that that is one that you have equipped at the time. Now if you want to equip a different skill, what you would do is you would just click on it, you would go to change skill, and then you can go ahead and slot it in anywhere you want here, and you can kind of customize even your button layout, which is really neat there. So that's kind of how that works. What's our Iron Man doing? Are we done with that? Yeah, so you've got your side quest done, you get your rewards, and there you go. So that's going to be how you do kind of just your general questing. Now, of course, if I want to go do the main quest, which I don't even know where I'm at currently, we probably won't do this right now, just so that way that this video stays on track. I'm pretty sure that we have a supervillain of some sort that we have to fight. Now, other things that are going to happen when you're going through here, you'll see this red icon. And basically it's going to tell you here what types of bosses are available at the time. So again, if we go back to the special operations and take a look at the most wanted list, you're going to have these most wanted characters here that you need to beat in that 24-hour period if you want to get some of the rewards. Now the rewards for this are pretty darn good because you get a nice chunk of gold. These other things here we'll talk about more about later. But as you'll see, this is going to be a costume box, which I'm going to do an entire video basically on costumes and so on, because really that's where the gacha system kind of gets itself into, is more so the costumes and the customization aspect. But we'll save that for a separate video because that's going to be a pretty big topic. But that's pretty much what you're looking at there. So if you're actually just playing in general, you might see a indicator that'll tell you that one of those bosses appeared. Yeah, we're going to have a main mission here, so we'll do that later. But if we take a look at here, maybe we have one. Yep, actually we have one right there. I don't know if we'll make it there before they get destroyed by whoever might be attacking them right now, if anybody. But basically, you might see those bosses show up randomly on your mini-map, and if that happens, it will indicate it to you, and at that point you can kind of decide if you want to detour off and play against that boss, which I definitely recommend because they are going to drop these comic books, and the comic books that they drop, you're basically what you're going to do with those, and they call them cards in this. It's basically just the cover art from these various comics across the Marvel Universe, but these cards are going to give you different effects and different stats and so on and so forth. So as you can see here, this is going to be the different effects and different boosts that you're going to get. So there's quite a bit here that you can kind of get into for your customization. Again, we'll do a separate video later on these, but a good way of getting these is going to be by doing these different bosses that show up randomly on the map. So as you can see here, it looks like we got a giant spider here that our Iron Man can fight, and we're not gonna, actually we're gonna get away, get away, get away. That's what happens when you take your eyes off of what you were doing and look at your... Now, this is actually good for the tutorial, actually. So if you die, right, what'll happen? Now, like I said, it does play in the background. So as you just saw, we were looking at our map, or looking at our menu, and we weren't paying attention. We took too much damage, we died, right? So what you can do is you can either revive at a starting point, which is going to take you back to the beginning of the mission, or you can go ahead and pay 5,000 gold in order to revive once. So keep that in mind. You can only do that one time, and then once that is done and you die again, what's going to happen is you're going to have to revive at the starting point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to the starting point because we weren't really doing anything anyway, nor were we really paying attention. So, but as far as healing your character is concerned, you can actually do that down here. You'll see all of your little buttons here. You have all these different things you can do. So starting out here, you're going to have your dodge button right here. So as you can see, I'll dash, and you can go ahead and just tap that, or you can kind of push in the direction that you want them to dodge to using your movement button here. So this is going to be your movement wheel down in this corner, and then your buttons over here. You have your basic attacks right here, so that's going to be your basic, and then you have all of your skills kind of around here. Now, cooldown reduction management and all that stuff is very important in this game, but not stuff we're going to talk about today. Again, we'll be talking about that in a later video. Other buttons here that are important, you're going to have your healing item that you have equipped. There's going to be different ones that are going to heal by different amounts in the game. So the one that I have currently equipped is going to be the one that is going to be the highest for my level currently available. And then eventually you'll see if we go to consumables, eventually we'll be able to unlock even better ones that you'll see right here, but we need to get to level 95 in order to do that. And you can repurchase these at any time. There is no cap, and you get 100 at a time, so it's really not too bad. So that is going to be that. Now, these guys here you can actually craft, and these trait enhancers are actually pretty useful. At the beginning, you won't necessarily find yourself using them that much, but in the heat of a big battle, you might end up wanting to use these. And basically what they're going to do is they are going to give you these different buffs here. We'll actually just use one of these down here just so I can show you guys. For a full minute, you will get that buff, and then eventually you will have to go ahead and reuse it again if that buff goes away before you have finished up that mission. So that is going to be what that is. Now, this big glowing arc reactor right here, this is actually going to be my finishing move, and I'll go ahead and show you guys, even though this is just little. In fact, why don't we find, well, let's do this. Attack these guys right here. So if we go ahead and hit the button, you are going to use your special move, and you're going to do a ton of damage, obliterate that scorpion, so on and so forth. So that is what that button there does. Now, another button that is important to note here is not going to be available on every character, but in the case of my Iron Man, you'll notice I am currently on the ground. This button here is going to put me in the sky. Now, if we go ahead and push the button that shows up now next to it, this is actually going to thrust me forward. So you can use this as a good way to get an extra dodge in, or you can go ahead and just use it to traverse quicker. Either way, very nice to have. So those are going to be kind of your basics. Now, up in the top corner, you're going to have your level, you're going to have your HP bar, you're going to have your stamina bar, and then of course it's going to indicate to you any of the different things that you might have as far as debuffs or buffs or so on and so forth. So you're going to have those available at ease, and then you'll have your mini map, which we've already talked about. where you can take a look at what bosses are currently available. You can take a look at if there's any traders or so on available on the map or any main points of interest. And then you're going to have your missions, your main missions, your side missions, and so on and so forth all there. And then right below that, it'll give you a nice little quick guide on how many side missions and how many collectibles are left on the map. So that's pretty much that. You'll also have at times, you'll see these convergium crystals show up. I always just pick these up here. You can just tap on them or walk up to them and pick them up there. But that's pretty much what you need to know about the main UI. Of course, you're going to have the chat down here at the bottom as well, which every once in a while is helpful, but for the most part, it's just like any chat in any MMO, and likely you'll want to ignore it for the most part. So that is pretty much going to be it for the basic stuff, you guys. I hope you all found this informative and enjoyable, and you are finding this game to be of interest. I'm going to be bringing plenty of content in the future on this game. I am working on some guides currently as we speak, so that I can bring you guys some more information on this game and help you to grind up your accounts. Now, if you guys are currently wondering and you want to know whether or not or how to play this game right now, what you are going to need is you are going to need a VPN, and you are going to need the proper APK. Now, I know I have talked about this on my community tab in the past, but if you guys want to play this game, just go ahead, pick up whatever VPN service it is that you want, go ahead and set your settings to Canada, and then from there, download the APK, get that downloaded. You're going to have a pretty hefty patch you need to download after you've done the APK, but then when you're done with that, you can jump into the game, and like I said, it runs buttery smooth for the most part. Every once in a while, you might hit a bit of a lag issue because the servers are overloaded, but when you have made a game this good and everybody wants to play it, of course you're going to have those issues at launch, but even then, those don't pop up very often, and as you can tell from the gameplay in this video today, the game plays pretty darn well considering a soft launch right now. So anyway, guys, if you are interested, hit me up in the comment section down below. I am going to be creating my own alliance, which we will talk about how those work in a later video. But if you are interested in getting in my alliance, I of course will be giving away slots for that, so you guys can check that out at a later date. I will make sure to give you all the updates as I do that. But let me know what you guys think of this game. Do you have it? Are you enjoying it? Who are you maining? What do you think about the game? Let me know. I will see you guys in the next one. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Game over.